right, welcome back, everyone. Let's get right into it. So I'm happy to introduce Guadalupe Pinzon Rios. She holds a PhD in history from the Faculty of Philosophy and Letters at UNAM. She's currently a researcher at the Institute of Historical Research and a professor of history in the history degree program at UNAM, where she teaches courses such as New Spain through its ports and maritime contacts and colonial America. She's a member of the National System of Researchers and a tutor in the History Graduate Program, and also teaches a course called The Sea in History, or Stories of the Sea, Maritime History Through Studies, Problems, and Sources. Her research has focused on maritime port activities along the Pacific coast, mainly in New Spain during the modern era. The title of her talk is there, the Naval Department of San Blas, a hub for geographic knowledge and navigation experiences in the Northwest Pacific. So please join me in welcoming Guadalupe.
Well, thank you very much, David. Thank you very much to the Newberry Library and the UNAM Chicago for having us here. I'm sorry, I know I speak ugly. Please don't hate me because of that. And I think it would be better if we chat about some images on maps related with the Naval Department of San Blas. And when I'm going to start, is well known the explorations about the northwest of America and the advances of the Russians in the last part of the 18th century from the Tartaria to Alaska, and also how Spain react to those advances with the creation of the Naval Department of San Blas to promote the expansion of Spain to North territories, the exploration of the coast of the northwest of America. And because of that, it was created the Naval Department of San Blas to reorganize the Jesuit missions because the Jesuits were expelled in 1767, and they had to leave the missions in the California. And from San Blas, it was necessary to reorganize those missions. And also, after that reorganization, it was necessary to explore the northwest of America to find how long were the Russians there, were the Russians in the northwest, and also expand the presence of Spain in the north, taking positions of some places, name those places with the Spanish names, take a symbolic position of them with maps, for example. And we can see how, for example, the north part of the America, from the New Spain, the California, and Cape Mendocino, and far away, we can see names in Spain because it was a process to do a Spanishization of those areas. So in this process, it was really important, the Naval Department of San Blas. San Blas was a port, right now it's in the coast of the state of Nayarit, in the occident of New Spain. And from this place, were organized different expeditions to the north in the last part of the 18th century. And this settlement was related with the maritime transformations of Spain along the 18th century, because in the 18th century, when the monarchies, the dynasty changed and arrived the Bourbons, it was really important to take control to overseas territories, because Spain lost the territories of Italy and Flanders, and because of that, they need to pay more attention to the American territories and reorganize their administration there. And because of that, they need to get better the naval system of all Hispanic territories. And because of that, they create the College of Guardias Marinas in Cadiz, the College of Military Engineers in Barcelona. They modify the fleets, the rules about the fleets that transit along the Atlantic. They create maritime departments in Cadiz, Ferrol, and Cartagena to control the borders of the Iberian Peninsula. they sent people, military, naval, and administrative personnel to reorganize the administration of the American territories. They create private companies to take control of peripheral territories in the Caribbean, and those kind of changes also happen in the Philippines, in the Pacific. As we can see, when to Philippines, the authorities sent officers. There were proposals to authorize companies, trade companies, to connect directly Cadiz and Manila through the Cape of Good Hope. There were proposals to change the trade of the Manila galleon because there were a lot of contraband along this trade. And also in America, there was the expansion of the Jesuits to the California. There were new regulations around the Manila galleons. There were new proposals to reopen the interviceroyalty trade because it was closed since the 17th century. There were reparations in the Acapulco Castle. And after the news about the Russians, it was necessary to recuperate all those experiences, maritime, military, naval experiences, and knowledge to put it in San Blas and start a new explorations from these new settlements. So San Blas we have to say that San Blas were linked with the Spanish maritime transformations because it was necessary to get more geographic, maritime, scientific and social information about the northwest of America. And because of that, the objective of this presentation is to review how San Blas became a place where that information circulate and how geographic and maritime information circulate and was elaborated through maps, diaries of navigation, and also the experiences of the sailors. Because all of this is scientific information that was useful in the knowledge or new knowledge about the northwest of America. To discuss these ideas, we can take some ideas about Art Brendeke, because he said how knowledge is really important to know distant realities, and that information helps to take decisions about those distant realities. And in the other hand, Niels Safir explained how since the 18th century, knowledge was put into practice directly in the areas that we explore. So the science was experimented in the same places that were recognized. And also, it is important to see how in these new realities and explorations, the maps became a really important source of information because, as Antonio Sanchez explained, the maps are more than scientific materials. They have the ability to generate, develop, also diplomatic, political, or economic issues. And also, we can consider the ideas of Jose Maria Garcia Redondo because he explained how the experiences of the sailors also deserve to be considered as historical reference, and also the narratives of the travels could be considered maps in prose. The presentation has 4 parts. We can talk about, in the beginning, how many things Spanish know about the northwest of America. After how from San Blas, the officers get more information and compare this information with the information that exists before. The third part is about how this information was organized and used for other people. And in the last part, I want to talk about the experiences of the sailors in the first part. By the way, in this presentation, I use a lot this document that is here in the Newberry Library because it's a compendium, a historic compendium about the expeditions in the Northwest from the 16th century to the last part of the 18th century. And with this document and others, of course, we have a lot of information about how since the 16th century, there were explorations along the coast of America, and also were connected with the Trans-Pacific connections that eventually became in the Manila Galleon route. And we can see how those explorations reached the Cape Mendocino, more or less in the 40 degrees north, because this is important because in the beginning, the explorations recognized the Peninsula of California. They tried to put settlements there, but eventually those explorations were connected with the Manila Galleon because the Manila Galleon arrived more or less in this altitude and then traveled to the south until the port of Acapulco. After the Manila Galleon exists, there were another kind of incursions in the Pacific, as happened, for example, with Francis Drake, and he attacked ports, boats along the coast of Peru and New Spain. And because of that, the Spanish authorities, considered it would be better if Spain has a stopover in the northwest part of America. So ordered to the officers of the Manila Galleons to explore the north of America to find some port that could be useful to this kind of navigations. And we can see here, these were the officers that received the order to explore the coast of America: Francisco de Gali, Miguel de Unamuno, y Cermeño. And we can see here, I don't know if you can see the line. This is a line. And we can see more or less this is the route that followed the Manila Galleons, arrived more or less close to the Cape Mendocino, and then turned and went to Acapulco. But these travels have a problem. The boats were really big, and they just passed for a very hard travel, crossing the Pacific, and because of that, they couldn't explore the coast of America. So because of that, New Spain, the authorities of New Spain, ordered to Sebastián Vizcaíno, an officer, an officer from New Spain, to explore the coast of New Spain, and he left Acapulco and reached the coast of Cape Mendocino and explored and did maps about the coast of America. We can see here the road that that Vizcaíno did, and he found two very good ports in the northwest of America, Monterrey and San Diego. And he recommended the use of Monterrey as a stopover of the Manila galleons. These are examples of the maps that Vizcaíno made. But even when the authorities said, yes, we authorize the use of Monterrey, eventually didn't happen because also there were another idea in the moment. And the idea was maybe it could be better if some islands in the middle of the ocean could be used as a stopover for the Manila Galleons. Those islands was Rica de Oro and Rica de Plata. And apparently, Francisco de Gali saw those islands, but after him, nobody found the islands again. But the idea was more or less the Manila Galleon, after leaving the coast of Philippines, go to the north. They reached the coast or passed in front of the coast of Japan. And because of that, these islands, the islands were here, could be useful as a stopover to the Manila Galleon. But because nobody found these islands, that idea never happened again. And eventually, in the 17th century, the idea of having a stopover disappeared, but there were another kind of information about the coast of America. As we can see here with this router, a Peruvian router, because Peruvian sailors recognize the coast of America from the California to the Patagonia. So this is an example of a router that explored the coast of the California. The north is here, but we can see here, this is the peninsula of the California, and this is the coast, in the interior coast of the New Spain. And we can see in this kind of routers, there are different. The route is the way that the boats follow, but the router is a compendium of information of navigation that we're doing again and again and again. And because of that, they have information about the spaces, the island, the water, the bay, the wind, or something like that. And that information could help to the sailors to get better navigations. And we can see that more or less this idea with this information here about how it was important to register and do charts with landmarks. There were also another kind of information about the Northwest of America, as we can see with this kind of map, very manual maps, about were made for pearl hunters, because we know the activities, the pearl hunter activities were really important in the interior of the California, and these sailors made some maps and descriptions. But also after the presence of the Jesuits in the California since the beginning of the 18th century, we can see how the Jesuits described the peninsula, did maps, talk about the indigenous, the area, the characteristics of the navigations around the California. And when we arrived to the 18th century, when the naval transformation started, we can find how some authorities start to compile information about the Trans-Pacific route, about the American territories, as we can see with this book that was made by a pilot, Jose González Cabrera Bueno. And in this book, Cabrera Bueno talked about the things that the pilots must to learn, how the Manila galleons should be made. And also he compiled information about routers around the Philippines, but he included the navigation from Manila to Acapulco. So we have really important information that describe the characteristics of the Northwest of America. As we can see here, in the router, Cabrera Bueno mentioned the porras that were plants in the north part of America that were more or less like an onions with long tails. And when the sailors saw that plants, they were really happy because they know they were really close to the coast of America. And also he described the islands like Cenizas, Cedros, Guadalupe, etc., because there were marklands to know about the position of the boats during the traveling. There were another book really important about the Northwest of America, Noticias de la California, and this book was made for a Jesuit, Miguel Venegas. And this book is really important because Venegas mentioned the relevance of the missions to protect the frontier of the New Spain, especially because along the 18th century, there were more presence of foreigner navigations around the California. And one example of that, Venegas included in his book because he mentioned the travel of one English, really important, George Anson, who captured a Manila galleon, but not in New Spain, but in the coast of the Philippines. But we can see how in the book about the exploration of the travel of George Anson, we can see, by the way, how they captured the Manila galleon. I don't know if you can see the attack. But also in the book, there were included maps about the coast of America. This is the coast of America. We don't have the peninsula, the interior of the Gulf of California, but we have the coast of the northwest part of America, the California. And this information was included in another Jesuit map that was included later in the map of Murillo Velarde. In this map, we can see a lot of information about Trans-Pacific routes, and we can see this it was a source to know about the expedition of the Russians from Tartaria to the north part of the America, We can find here another travel of a French, Nicolas Frontin, in the beginning of the 18th century. We can see the Manila Galleon. This is the route of the Manila Galleon, and this is the peninsula of California. So we can see here how there are a lot of information about how there were more and more foreign presence around the coast of the California. So when the Naval Department of San Blas was created, represent the expansion of the formal maritime activities from the peninsula to the coast of the Pacific to protect the New Spain, the frontier of New Spain, for the presence of these foreigners that were increased their presence along the Pacific. So the relevance of the Naval Department of San Blas also was related to get more control for areas less protected by Spain. It was also relevant to know as a the use of San Blas as a geostrategic position against the possible advances of the first the Russian and later for the English. It was related also with the capture that English made for Manila and La Habana, because with that capture, they closed the communication around the New Spain, and also represent the Spanish expansion to the north in New Spain, but also in Philippines. So we can see how San Blas was really important to naval transformations of Spain, but also to control better the Trans-Pacific connections. From San Blas, we can see very different kind of navigations, but these were the principal expeditions that were organized from San Blas to recognize the north part of the continent. And this is important because when the expeditions start to be organized or prepared from San Blas, we can see how they get a lot of information that the expeditions that occurred before, as we can see with this testimony of Juan Perez, and he mentioned how he consulted information about the expedition of Sebastián Vizcaíno, and how he used also the router of Cabrera Bueno. So it's important to mention San Blas didn't appear just because it's a new position. It was a synthesis of information, experience, and projects, naval, maritime, and geostrategic from Spain in the northwest of America. And we can see how the kind of information, for example, in Cabrera Bueno, Juan Perez knew something about the Cape Mendocino, the islands, Cenizas, Cerros, and Guadalupe, and also use this information to recognize Monterrey, 168 years after the expedition of Sebastián Vizcaíno. And in this information or in these sources, also we have maps. For example, one military engineer, Miguel Constanzo, he mentioned how he consulted the Jesuits' manuscripts to know about the northwest of America. And we can see here, well, that happened because in this part, I don't know if you can see, the name of Segismundo Tabaral. And Segismundo Tabaral was a Jesuit to explore the west part of the California, the exterior of the California, and this is the sign of the presence of this Jesuit in this area. And in the map, in the official map made by Constanzo, he mentioned here how this map was based on the Jesuit manuscripts, on the information of pilots that explored the area before, and in his own information or experiences, naval experiences. In San Blas also, there were used foreign information, especially English sources. As we can see here, when a testimony of the Viceroy Bucareli, Antonio de Bucareli, because he asked for the information of the expedition of James Cook, because we know James Cook were a really important explorer in the Pacific, and about these explorations, there were a lot of books and maps that mention all advances in the Pacific. And because of that, we know Bucareli asked for the information about this travel and also another travels before. And it's really interesting that in New Spain, they didn't consult these sources in English. They consulted in French because they asked for the translations that were made from English to French. And also we know, for example, the travels of James Cook were immediately synthesized in maps, and immediately Spain made manual manuscripts, maps, describing also the Cook travelers. Now we can see the travels here, and these are the travels. We can see here Cook, for example, and also the use of the islands in the middle of the ocean, as Tahiti and the Sandwich Islands. Now, the Sandwich Islands now are Hawaii. And even when we don't know if these maps were used in San Blas, we know that at least the information and the description of these travels were used in the Naval Department. There were also myths that were discussed in that moment that were also discussed in San Blas, as we can see with the Strait of Fonte, because in France there were a discussion about the possible existence of the transoceanic connection from the north. And in France there were a lot of geographers doing maps, and those maps were consulted in New Spain, because we know that because, for example, Venegas mentioned, the map of Venegas, or the Jesuit map that we saw before, was made or was based in the map, the French map of the cartographer Delisle, another cartographer, French cartographer, Nicolas Belin. And those maps included the information of the Russian expansion, because one French cartographer, Louis Delisle, went to St. Petersburg to teach how to do maps in St. Petersburg, and he compiled the information about the Russian expeditions, and those information was sent to France, and because of that, France was the first to do maps with this exploration, or explaining these Russian explorations, Trans-Pacific explorations. And those maps were used by the officers of San Blas, as we can see here when Juan Perez mentioned how he consulted the maps of Belin, and later how Bruno de Seta mentioned how he also consulted the map of Belin. And this is really important because the Spanish exploration knew about the Cape Mendocino to the south, but they didn't have information to the north. And who has that information? The Russians. So because of that, it was really important to consult the Russian Russian information. We can see the map of the land here, and we can see how they describe the north part of the continent. You can see here the travels of the Russians, Chirkov, Bering, etc. They mentioned the America Septentrional. And later, this kind of information helped to do some proposals, map with proposals about the possible connections, maritime connections in the north, with some myths. For example, the possible existence of the Mare of the West, that maybe would be helpful to connect the coast of the Atlantic and the coast of the Pacific. And we can see here the Russian connections. And this idea was included in the Jesuit maps that we saw before. We can see here the the mayor of the West. Well, so until here we can see the San Blas, the expeditions prepared in San Blas. Also they consulted different kind of sources, and they need to organize it and organize and put in one name to the places. For example, the California, we can find the north part of the continent could be mentioned as New Albion by English. Obviously, California, since the exploration of Hernán Cortés, and also in the last part of the 17th century, the area were mentioned as the Carolina Island, but never changed the name. But we can see how there were different ways to name the area. So the authorities or the officers of San Blas need to organize and unify this kind of information and use it in another explorations. So we pass to the next idea about the comparisons. We need to remember also, in the last part of the 17th century and the beginning of the 18th century, there were a modification in the science. There were a lot of transformations, and those transformations affect the mathematics. And in the mathematics, they were really important because they have an impact in the geographical records and the map making, and were related with the longitudes, because in the 18th century, it was a discussion where the dimension of the globe, of course, and the measurements about the transit of the navigations, the distances between some different places, and we can see how the meridians were different in the 18th century. We can find the meridian 0 in Madrid, Paris, Greenwich, Tenerife, etc. So in those problems, in those discussions, San Blas was inserted, and the officers of San Blas had new instruments to do new measurements, the explorations, the maps, etc. And we can see that that situation with this kind of testimonies, because, for example, Miguel Constanzo mentioned how he corrected the information, the data, his own data with the data that exists before. Bruno de Seta mentioned how he compared his own measurements with the French maps, and Antonio Maurel mentioned he correct the French maps, for example. Also, Antonio Maurel, we are going to mention this name a lot. He mentioned how it was really important to register better the roads and the spaces that were more used, because it was helpful to accelerate and get better the trade and the connections, maritime connections in the northwest part of America. So we can see here the geographical discussions about the Interoceanic Strait also were related or were mentioned in San Blas. As we can see here in this testimony, when Bruno de Seta mentioned or referred the river, a big river that was mentioned as a possible of the strait, but it was not, it was just a big river. Because the altitudes and the position of that place, it wasn't the correct that was described in the previous expeditions. And we can see here one way to synthesize this kind of information, we're doing maps. No? We can see here the Strait of Fuca is the name, Strait of Fuca, but it wasn't a strait, it's a big river. And there were also discussions about the foreign projects, as we can mention before, about, for example, the possibility of success of the travels of James Cook, the information that support the travel of George Anson, for example, and those ideas were discussed in Mexico City and also in the port of San Blas. And the problem of the longitudes, as I mentioned before, San Blas was included. As we can see here, this is San Blas, this is the California, This is when the navigation started. And because they need to take measurements or take data for the along the travels, the beginning of the travels starts here in the meridian 0. And in this map, we can see the meridian 0 is San Blas. And we can see that happened also in San Jose del Cabo. No? This is the meridian 0, and you start the navigation to explore the northwest part of America. When they have all the data, they need to use the data, no? And discuss the data. And we can see the use of this kind of information in journals and maps about the expeditions, and that information were collected and organized in Mexico City, as we can see, and was put beside the information that the authorities had before from the since the 18th century. And also they have information about the Russian, the English, and the French expeditions, navigations, diaries of navigations, history about the navigations or diaries, etc., diaries of navigation. And all these records were discussed in New Spain in intellectual circles. And because we know that, well, we know because there are a lot of information about that, but one example of that was when Alejandro Malaspina passed to or visit New Spain. Alejandro Malaspina was an Italian officer under the rule of Spain, and he proposed a scientific navigation around the world. It was the navigation was authorized, but when he arrived to the American territories, there he received the order to explore the north passage of the continent because maybe exists. So Malaspina need to prove if that passage exists or not exists. So he went to New Spain to know about the information that the officers of San Blas made about the north part of America. When Malaspina arrived to Acapulco, he prepared two groups. One group need to explore the port of Acapulco. It was a very important port because in this port arrived the Manila galleons, and it was the place that connected New Spain with the Philippines. And the second group went to Mexico City to gather as much information as possible about the northwest of America. And when Malaspina was in Mexico City, he knew people that participated before in the explorations in the northwest of America. As we can see, when he met Miguel Constanzo, we mentioned Miguel Constanzo because he did maps, and Antonio Maurel because he was an officer from San Blas, and in this moment he was retired in Mexico City after 20 years of working in San Blas. And they both of them helped to Malaspina and explained to Malaspina the information that exists in the archives of Mexico. And also there were scientific circles that Malaspina made, and they had a lot of information. They did maps, they did books and publications about the new scientific discussions. And some example of those kind of people are Antonio de León y Gama, Nicolás Guadalajara, José Antonio Alzate. This is a map of Alzate, by the way, and represent New Spain in the 1789. And we can see here, he used information about San Blas because he described the islands. He mentioned here in this part, this is the part when Vizcaíno described the coast of San Diego. We can see, well, I hope you can see these mountains. And him in the map is mentioned how the Manila galleons, when they arrived to the coast of America, they saw these maps. And also there were another Spanish expeditions before Vizcaíno in this area. There were also another kind of people that Malaspina knew, as Fausto de Lujar, because he was the director of the College of Mines in Mexico City, and a very important institution of science in the New Spain. The kind of sources that Vizcaíno consulted in New Spain, and most of this, a lot of this information was elaborated around the expedition of San Blas. We can see in this that kind of sources in in this list. And Vizcaíno consulted the Jesuits' archives, the reports about the explorations about the north part of the America, because the New Spain was explored to the north, not only in the west coast, but also in the interior, in the Gulf of Mexico, because there were a lot of present and transformations there because there were an expansion of the English, the French lost their territories in the continent. So there were a lot of transformations there. And because of that, there was really necessary to know about the north part of the continent, of the Viceroyalty. And because of that, there was a lot of information in Mexico about the north. As we can see here, the Jesuits, the report of the interior provinces, the diaries of navigation of Sebastián Vizcaíno, the information about the expedition of Fernando de Alarcón that explored around the Colorado River, the foundation. This was really important. The foundation of the New California, San Diego, Monterrey, San Francisco, etc. The diaries of those advances made by Fray Junípero Serra. He was a Franciscan that participated a lot in the foundation of the New California. Juan Bautista de Anza, he was an officer that participated in the foundation of those territories. Fray Francisco Garcés, that he explored the area of Sonora, the Pimería, and the Colorado River. Nicolás Lafora, that he was a military engineer that explored also the provincias, the presidios internos, and the settlements in the interior of New Spain, but in the north. And all this kind of information was consulted by Sebastián Vizcaíno. Also, he received help from Antonio Maurel, because Maurel in that moment was organizing the information about Nootka, because Nootka, as we know right now as Vancouver, in that moment there were a really big problem that almost provoked a war between England and Spain, because the Spanish officers captured an English trader, sent them to New Spain, and that action almost provoked a war. And because of that, there were negotiations between Spain and Britain about the Nootka Bay, and there were a lot of information about that problem, and Antonio Maurel was organized those kind of information. Also, Maurel gave information to Malaspina to the travel of Esteban Martinez, and this is really important expedition because it was the first expedition that saw Russians in the north. No, before him, the Spanish didn't saw Russians. Also, there were vocabularies that were made, vocabularies from indigenous people in the north that were made by officers of the James Cook expeditions, and there were a lot of information about the organization of new travels to the northwest from San Blas. And example of that, we can see it with the maps. This is a map of the north part of the continent, a bay in the very north part. This is the same area made in the same year, but we can see how there were different maps. But we can see here there were a lot of Spanish information, a lot of toponymy in Spanish, because as we mentioned before, it was really important to take a symbolic possession of those territories in maps with putting the names in Spanish. It's a closer view of this kind of examples. And we can see how the names were related with San Blas, because the names were from the officers, from the New Spain authorities, or saints, or things that were really important to the Spanish, like Islas Gallegas, something like that. But everything must be in Spain, because it was the way to Spanicize that area. Also, in those maps, there were we can see the internationalization of the Pacific and the Northwest part of America, as we can see here with the little houses that represent the Russian campaments in the area. Here you can see the little houses. There are Russians. And also, there were maps that synthesized the advances of San Blas. This is a map made during the Malaspina expedition, but we can see here how it was mentioned. The Puerto Santa Cruz was possessed in 1789, and that action was made by the officers from San Blas. So we can see action in this map, no? The process, the transformation, the recognitions, the discussions, and the internationalization, and the conflicts around the Northwest part of America, thanks to this kind of maps. Well, we can see here another example, and how it was mentioned how these territories of the North were discovered by the Spanish in 1799. So those Spanish were from San Blas, or were there because the travels from organized from San Blas. So we can see this kind of internationalization and the limits and negotiations between Britain, Russia, and Spain for the northwest part of America. We can see here in these lines the 4 campaments, Russian and English, and the limit of the New Spain after the negotiation of the 1792. We can see how the limit of New Spain was San Francisco, and a little position that never was really important, Nootka. And we can see here the representation of those kind of positions. The campaments were represented with little houses, and the Hispanic possessions were represented with the little churches, no? Because there were Christian positions. Also, there were another kind of information that quickly were translated and sent to New Spain. As we can see with these advances of John Mears, he was a trader that was involved in the fur trade in the Northwest. He used the Sandwich Island, and we can see how in this map how were represented the connections between the northwest part of America, the China, of course, because China consumed a lot the fur. He participated in the fur trade, and they use also this island, and because of that, we know they were really important that the authorities of New Spain know about the advances of the foreigners, because in this case, for example, the advances on John Mears represent the connection or the information about the connections between Nootka, China, Macau, Manila, and obviously the Sandwich Islands. And also in these maps, we can see the problems and discussions about the political discussions. No? For example, we mentioned before Nootka Bay, no? and the island of Nootka. And we can see here the problem between Britain and Spain about this area, because there were a discussion in 1792 who this island was from Spain or was from Britain. So the 2 authorities were there to discuss that situation. Francisco de la Bodega y Cuadra, he was an officer from San Blas, and George Anson, he represents the Britain monarchy, and they didn't decide who must take that island, and because of that, they named the island with both names. And the beginning then, this island was Quadra and Vancouver, but eventually the name of Quadra disappeared. And about the experiences. we can see how, Antonio Maurel mentioned how was important, besides the scientific and technical data, the officer must share their own experiences because that experience was really important to the succeed of the travelers, as we can see here. And that kind of information should be shared or can be shared orally or in writing, but also with draws. No? As we can see here, I don't know if you can see here, it's a sea lion, no? For example. And you can see the head, the body, the tail, etc. No? Yeah? A sea lion. Uh, Maurel, for example, mentioned how this kind of information was really practical because allowed to the crews to navigate in and explore or in difficult areas in a way more with more safely. And the narratives were really important, and because of that, the sailors must to take information or register their own information and the experiences, not only the technical data, but their own experiences. Um, and we can see this kind of experience also were represented in maps with recommendations, very manual maps. And also they describe, for example, the islands. This was the Maria Islands in the front of the San Blas. And the profiles were really important because they were helpful to the boats to know the position from the perspective of the ocean. Also, there were recommendations about how to travel. There were, for example, a maneuver that was called the engulfment because the boats need to go far away from the coast and then go to the north because they can do it that close to the coast because there were currents from north to the south. So they need to get away from the coast and then go to the north. And also we can see this kind of information, the descriptions, the names, and the volcanoes, for example. We can see a mountain here, a volcano here. So we can see this kind of information was really useful for the sailors. And also there were another problem. Well, in the compendium is mentioned how it was really important to describe the experiences, the currents, the winds, that because all that kind of information was really useful for the sailors. And that kind of information could be organized in this way. The router, because it was important, for example, for do the engulfments, about the seas, because the sea is not the same in every place. For example, in the north, the sea was more violent than in the south. And because of that, the sailors need to know about it. It was really difficult stay in the north, and it was different experience in the of another areas or another oceans. The time also was really important because it was not the same travel with full moon or without the full moon. And the signals or the signs along the coast was, as we mentioned before, were really important to describe the elements that the sailors can be recognized. Because we need to remember also in the north part of the continent there were a lot of neblina. No, how do you say neblina? Fog. That. And because of that, they can recognize the mountains, for example. So the things that they can recognize were the fishes, the birds, the jellyfish or something like that. No? And also, it was another problem, the weather, because San Blas, for example, was hot, and the north part of America was really cold. So they need to know about how kind of clothes they need to use and how they can use alcoholic beverage because the alcoholic beverage maintain or keep the warmth of the bodies. And we can see more or less that idea with this image of a Malaspina expedition, the mountain with ice, or more or less we can imagine the freezing, no, that the cold that the sailors feel during the travels in the northwest part of America. Also, the records they were really useful to know the best way to sail. They provide knowledge about when must be the better way to sail to prevent illness or to treat illness of the crews, and then all this information should be considered as just also geostrategic. So, in the end, San Blas was a naval station from the beginning. San Blas received information of previous explorations, local, Spanish, and international. San Blas officers made different maps, logbooks, narratives about the expeditions. The information was sent to Mexico and Spain, where it was discussed by the intellectual elites. And subsequently, this information was used in negotiations around the monarchy, and during its existence as a maritime department, San Blas served as an important hub that was part of the construction of the new geographical and cartographic records and knowledge. San Blas played an important role in the politics and maritime restructurations of the Pacific during the 18th century. And that's all. Thank you very much. I don't know if you want to see a map.
Thank you so much. Excuse me while I try to do two things at once. Let's take one question from the room first, which Emily will do for me.
Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? Yeah, sure. Thank you for this fascinating talk. I'm wondering if you could comment a little bit about the archives that you use to pull together this vast body of information. You mentioned the transit of this information back to Mexico City. Could you tell us more about the kind of state of the archives of this material in terms of where these maps exist today, if they exist at all, and if any of them were ever published and therefore entered wide circulation?
But right now, the archives? No, it's fine. The archives right now, the principal archives, cartographic archives, there were in different places, mostly in Spain. In this case, in Spain, because San Blas was a military position, and because of that, the information of San Blas had to be sent to the metropole, and there were copies in New Spain also. But eventually, because the maps change and were reelaborate, there are copies in different places. For example, about San Blas, there were a big important collection in the Library of Congress. I don't know why, no? But we know the information circulate were bought or something like that, no? And the diaries of navigation also, because they were geostrategic, there were principally in Spain, but also there were a lot of copies in the Archive of Mexico, the National Archive of Mexico, because the authorities of the Viceroyalty need a copy of those information. Yep.
Thank you, Guadalupe. Thank you very much for a fabulous presentation. I think I want to follow up a little bit on Barbara's question, but ask it in a slightly different way. So the imperial map making, which I think is part of what you're doing here, is described in the historiography for the 16th century as a map making of secrecy, as the state wanting to maintain control of its maps. This is a very different era and under very different political circumstances. How would you describe this late colonial imperial map making?
In the 18th century, the authorities lost a little the idea of control and the secrecy about the geographic information that exists. For example, with the Austria, the Habsburg. Yes, thank you. Because the information circulate even when there was provisions, the information circulate, and because of that, or thanks to that, Spanish had a lot of information about the English advances, the Russians, from the Netherlands, for example, because they had another position, and they preferred to communicate because shared information was a way to take control or to publicize their advances. And Spain maintained close and close and close information, but in the 18th century, they need to share more this kind of information. And even they changed a little bit the descriptions because, for example, in San Blas, the diaries of navigation are really, really boring because they gave data. We travel here and nothing. They travel here and nothing. Today, a member of the tripulation died. That's all. And they need to learn a little bit about the English narratives with a little more adventures. And eventually they have that information. But in the last part of the 18th century, they were in the change, mostly in the change to share a little bit more about this kind of information and they publish a little bit also those information. I don't know if I answered you. Okay.
Gracias, Guadalupe. I had a question. You put an image about Joseph Cabrera, a book
Cabrera
about,
Bueno?
Yes, I think it was that. It's just a title that it says speculative and practical navigation.
Navegación especulativa.
Exactly. And I like this idea about the practical navigation because you seem to show us a lot of practical details that were developed in San Blas, gathering information and making the maps. But what was the speculative part, if there was any, in San Blas, especially in the late 18th century, where the common impression in the historiography is that the world is already known and there were not so much places that are still a mystery.
Sure. Do you want to know what is the speculative part?
It just prompted to me like the idea of the speculative in the late 18th century. What was the speculative part of that from San Blas? Were they speculating something about any territories or?
Okay, but this book, it wasn't related with San Blas when appears, because it was from the 1734. No? Yeah. But it was related with the naval transformation, Spanish transformation that also occurred in the Pacific. And Cabrera Bueno, as a pilot, he did a lot of recommendation, for example, about mathematics and trigonometry. And he mentioned how the pilots need to know more about mathematics and less about rhetoric, for example. No? And he did a lot of explain a lot of possibility to get better the navigations. I think that was more or less the relation with the speculation because he did a lot of recommendations and also the measurements about the boats, the measurements about the maps, how it was really important to connect better the Philippines. And he explained, for example, routers to connect Philippines with Malacca, with Batavia, with Japan, for example, and that travels officially didn't exist. And he explained how it could be better if they exist, for example. So more or less in the 18th century, in the first part of the 18th century, there are a movement, for example, that when we can see local officers or administrative person promoting some ideas or proposing some ideas to change or get better administration from their own perspective. And this is one example of that. Okay. I hope I understand. Okay.
We have one question from Zoom, which
the when we think about something like Humboldt's work in South America, the labor is often indigenous labor, and so the kind of scientific team is both European and kind of indigenous and Spanish. The question here is wondering what the makeup of the crews on the ship were, like who were these people that were on the ships doing this work?
But I don't understand the question. Sorry. Because Vancouver was there, but he wasn't connected directly with the. ¿Las qué? ¿De Vancouver? Ah, there were a lot there. There were a lot of indigenous there. For example, thank you, Barbara. There were the officers mostly were from Spain, and even they studied in the College of Guardias Marinas, for example, or they had experience from another travelers. But the crew of the poor crew, not the carpenters, the sailors. Mostly they have to take them from the local population, and we can see, for example, in the local indigenous, there were, for example, close to San Blas, a town that they had naval experience because they fish a lot. So because they didn't get sick with the navigations, they took them to participate in the travels. And also there were pearl hunters around there. Maybe they were not indigenous directly, but they had local maritime experience along the coast, and they took them. So, and there were a lot of force people in those navigations also. But there are presence of indigenous there. San Blas? I don't remember. No, it was not associated with California. It was associated because in that area there were a really big hacienda or a big farm that was named San Blas. So because of that, the port received that name. In the 16th century, the first recognitions saw that it was a peninsula, but eventually the knowledge about this disappeared because different causes or reasons. One of them was after the travel of Vizcaíno, it was prohibited to sailors of New Spain to go outside to the California. And because of that, the sailors went in the interior, travel in the interior of the California with the in relation with the pearl hunters, for example. And later, the Dutch made a lot of maps, and they signed or they put the California as an island, and because of that, those maps were later copied for the Spaniards, and because they didn't travel for the area, the knowledge about the area was a peninsula disappeared, and because only the Manila galleon traveled over there, and in front of the California there were a big river flowing, and they thought it was also the sea. And when the Jesuits advanced with their missions to the California and explored the area, they saw, it was a peninsula. So they quickly report this situation and made maps about that. But the knowledge exists in the 16th century and eventually disappeared and then appeared again. Okay.
Okay, I think
We'll finish.
There's, I don't want to stand between you and lunch. So thank you so much, Guadalupe.